Fight fans around the world, welcome back. All right, guys, let's be honest. How many of you actually thought that Jake Paul, the problem child, was going to go the distance with Anthony Joshua, the former two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world? Because the internet swore this would be over into, let's say, 3 rounds or less, and yet it wasn't. And that right there, that's the real story, guys. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Duality 7X Special Edition, Late Night Edition, Post-Fight Chat. I love these ones, guys. After fight night, I love doing these videos because everything is so fresh. Everything is so raw. It's unfiltered, real fight talk. And this is what I love doing. I mean, I'm Shiraz, guys. I'm your host. Welcome to Duality 7X. Here we try to break down all the latest trending stories when it comes to the world of MMA, UFC, the WWE, and the wild, wild world of boxing and crossover boxing. No fluff, guys. No bias. Just real fight talk, as I mentioned before. If you guys like the content, please smash a like and subscribe. So let's get into it, guys. It's almost 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So we're talking about 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. What a night. What a night. So before I get into the main event, let me just kind of brief you on what happened on the undercard with Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. And it all went down, guys, at the Casillas Center in Miami, Florida. Good old United States of America. So we had Caroline Dubois. Caroline Dubois is the sister of the former world heavyweight champion, Daniel Dubois. And I think you guys, if you guys have been watching my videos, you know that my speculation is Daniel Dubois. Well, Daniel Dubois actually pulled out of the IBF title eliminator against Frankie Sanchez. And I'm speculating that he did that because Daniel Dubois is setting himself up for a big fight against Fabio Wardley, who was crowned the WBO champion after Alexander Usyk vacated that title. So I think that's going to be a great showdown. But this is not about Daniel Dubois tonight. It's about his sister, Caroline Dubois, who had a stunning performance against Camila Pinata, and she won via unanimous decision. And then Chernaka Johnson defeated Amanda Gall. And Amanda, I mean, you know, actually there was a lot of people that I was talking to thinking that Amanda was actually going to beat Chernaka, but Chernaka won by unanimous decision herself. And then we had Jamal Harvey. He took on Kevin Cervantes, and he also won by unanimous decision. And then we get into the big fights, guys. The more popular fights, if you want to call it, not necessarily the big fights. All of these fights are fantastic, and I can't actually wait to watch more of Caroline Dubois because she was absolutely unbelievable. And the fact that her big brother is Daniel Dubois, I mean, wow. I'd love to be a fly on the wall and just be around these guys during like a Christmas dinner or just like even a conversation and just hear them chat about boxing all day. But that said, Anderson Silva, a former UFC heavy champion of the world, what's that heavyweight? Former UFC champion of the world and legend. Okay, legend. And at 50 years old, he took on a 43-year-old Tyrone Woodley, who's a former UFC champion himself. And Anderson Silva won that via TKO in round number 2 at 1 minute and 33 seconds of the second round. Tyrone Woodley was not able to continue. The referee stepped in, called it off, and that was it. I mean, you know, Anderson Silva started off pretty slow in round number 1. But round number 1, guys, and if you know anything about these UFC fighters, they're always just kind of, well, a lot of boxers do the same thing, right? It's that, you know, that touch and feel, and they just kind of want to see how things go. But guys, you got to hand it. You got to hand it to Anderson Silva. He got the job done. And then Alicia Baumgardner defeated Canadian Layla Bedouin, sorry, who fights out of Montreal, Quebec, and Alicia Baumgardner won by via unanimous decision as well. Now that said, Lalia Bedouin. I'm having such a difficult time with names, guys, but she actually came on very strong in the final rounds, and she landed some beautiful counters. She was very aggressive, and she had Alicia kind of stunned a few times. And so it's too bad that Lilia didn't actually put up a lot of this offensive during the early rounds, because maybe things might have been different. And then and that was a co-main event. And then we get into the main event, guys. Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul. I mean, wow, guys, this was fantastic. First of all, there's a lot of haters out there. A lot of people who are talking a lot of crap. Oh, you know what? Anthony Joshua should have finished this within 2 to 3 rounds. Guys, a fight's a fight. You can't measure the distance of a fight based on two people. Anything can happen. You slip on a banana peel in the ring. You get hit with a punch out of nowhere. Anything can happen, and things change. The rules, the dynamics, everything you think you know just gets thrown right out the window. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it. Yes. I mean, Anthony Joshua was the better fighter. And he even being off or away from the ring for 15 months, he was still, he had some ring rust, 100%. And he himself said it at the end, when he was speaking with Ariel Helwani in the ring, in the post-fight interview. Anthony Joshua said that, he was shaking off a lot of cobwebs, and he got hit a few times because it's a fight. That's what happens. Boxers hit one another. They one guy will get hit, the other one guy will launch an offensive counter, and that's just the way it goes, right? As Anthony Joshua put it, it's like a basketball game. One team goes, hits a couple points, and the other team goes back and hits a couple points, and it's like that. And it's just like a fight. You can't expect Anthony Joshua to just walk in there and clean house within the first 30 seconds just because he does have the more experience between the two fighters. It doesn't work that way. Jake tried to hang in there, but in the first couple rounds, he looked obviously a lot sharper, and then it just started to deteriorate for Jake Paul after that point. So yes, as expected, Anthony Joshua knocked out Jake Paul in the Casillas Center in Miami. That part wasn't shocking at all. What was shocking is that it took 6 rounds. Now, I personally don't think it was all that shocking. I honestly thought it was going to be done a little bit sooner. But again, like I said, anything happens. Anything happens. And some of the commentators, even like in the first few rounds, oh, this is embarrassing. Oh, people paid money for this crap. And are you kidding me, guys? It's a fight. What do you guys expect? Anthony was away from the sport for 15 months. Give the guy some credit. He's coming back. And Jake Paul, you got to give this guy credit too, man. For a lot of the match, it looked like he was just target practice for Anthony Joshua, especially in the later rounds. But he hung in there, and he had a couple good punches. He stunned AJ a couple times. But that's what happens, guys, in a fight. So anyways, it wasn't all that shocking. I mean, the fact that it went to 6 out of 8 rounds, it was interesting, guys. And this is why this matters, right? Because, this wasn't some viral exhibition where Jake just kind of folded instantly. It was kind of awkward. It was a little bit ugly. But at the same time, it's boxing, guys. And honestly, you're not going to get a perfect picture. Never. And some people may say, oh, it's uncomfortable to watch and this and that. Well, I don't know, man. I honestly, we have too many perfectionists all of a sudden all around. And it's funny because all these guys who are saying all this crap about how Anthony Joshua should have laid out Jake Paul within the first 2 to 3 rounds. These clowns themselves couldn't get the job done against their opponents at the same time. I would love to see some of these guys. I'm not going to name call or drop any names right now, but I'd love to see some of these guys go in the ring with Jake Paul and try to see if they could knock him out within the first round or two. Yeah, it's not that easy, guys, right? So anyways, from the jump, Jake Paul did exactly what I guess he had to do, right? He got on the bicycle, he moved laterally, he hugged the ropes, he forced AJ to chase him. If you guys noticed the round, if you were looking at the screen and if you thought for a minute, why does the ring look big, right? It looks a little bit bigger than usual because it was designed that way. So I don't know. I don't know if there was some strategy behind it, but yeah, I mean AJ had to move, and so did Jake, I guess, right? So I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. It definitely worked for a bit. Jake didn't eat a ton of clean shots early, which is good. He landed a couple really good shots. He tried to stay in the game, but clearly the weight difference was just too much. It was way too much. Anthony Joshua is like a super heavyweight, and AJ and Jake Paul honestly is a true cruiserweight. And it's interesting because if it was a different cruiserweight, it could have been a closer fight. Just because Anthony has a size advantage doesn't make him in that category alone doesn't make him the better fighter. The reason why Anthony was the better fighter was because of his experience. I mean, this is a former Olympic gold medalist. I mean, I think I saw somebody post something where they showed Jake Paul in 2016 when he was with Disney and all that, and then in 2025 he's a pro boxer. Now kudos to Jake, honestly. For him to go through that transition, I mean, why not? Why not? A lot of people start late in their life. I mean, look at Pascal Siakam, NBA basketball star, right? And world champion. Pascal Siakam himself, he started playing basketball at the age of 14. So sometimes you have some late bloomers. But the same time Jake Paul was doing Disney and stuff, 2016, Anthony Joshua just came off a win against Eric Molina. So that was really interesting. So, I mean, AJ's been in the game for a long, long time. All right. This is what he knows. This is what he does. This is his craft. And look, Jake stayed alive. And depending on how generous you're feeling, you could almost argue the fact that he might have even stole a round or two. All right. Especially within the first 3 to 4 rounds. But let's be clear. The question's going to come down to is, was that really Jake winning or was that Jake surviving? Right? So, I mean, round 5 is where reality started to kick in. And AJ came in and kicked the door down, and he's like, enough's enough. And he went to town and he put on a boxing clinic, and he really tried to box Jake Paul. And he did box Jake Paul. And that happened. It turned into a completely different fight. Jake kept hitting the canvas. He was knocked down a few times. And then there was a point where you thought there was like an accidental low blow. It didn't really look like a low blow, but when Jake fell down and then Anthony kind of fell on top of him, it looked like maybe Anthony's knee kind of, hit Jake, like kind of in the lower sternum area. That's a possibility. The referee still gave Jake some time to kind of clear the cobwebs, and he did. And then Jake came, and then Anthony came back. A clean left just buckled Jake's legs. You could see Jake kind of like hobbling on his foot, and then he was trying to backpedal, and he almost tripped again, and then you could see it immediately, and then another right hand comes, and then boom, you got that first knockdown, and then another counter, another knockdown, and then Jake survived that round, and then he was cooked, right? All that movement just gone. The tank was empty, and the power difference was super obvious. And round six, yeah, it didn't take long, guys. I mean, Joshua landed a beautiful bomb of a right hand, and then Jake just went down. And he just went down, and then he got up, and then he tried to fire back, and then he ate another right, and then Joshua trapped him right in the corner, and then he was just chopping shots at him, right? And then another massive right hand, and then down goes Paul. Down goes Paul. And then Jake tries to beat the count, and he just couldn't make it. The referee had enough, and the fight was over at 1 minute 31 seconds of round number 6. And that's exactly how we expected the fight was going to go. I truly felt there was going to be a knockdown in this fight, a knockout, sorry, and a knockout is what we got, right? So my honest opinion, Anthony Joshua did what he was supposed to do, but he didn't look flawless, okay? But he definitely looked patient. He looked control. There was some times where you could see a little bit of frustration on Anthony's face, especially within the first 3 to 4 rounds. And then he just kind of started to control the pace. He started to jab. He started to box. He was timing Jake's shots. He was timing Jake's movements. And he wasn't just throwing bombs unnecessarily. He was trying to get him within that vicinity, and then he was landing those shots. Because in the early rounds, if you watch the fight, Anthony was throwing some punches, but they were missing its cue. I mean, some were landing, some weren't, and then that's where the frustration started to kick in. But then right away, Anthony was able to just kind of control himself, set the pace, and then he took control of the fight, right? And I mean, he honestly looked like a heavyweight figuring out how to swat a fly without tripping over the furniture. Yeah, that's the easiest way to put it. And Jake Paul, I mean, look, I've got so much credit for Jake. Like, you got to give this guy so much credit. He went there. He lasted 6 rounds with a 2-time former unified world heavyweight champion and possibly future heavyweight champion. You got to give this guy credit. Jake Paul, he can hang with the boys. So what I'd like to see is I'd like to see Jake Paul fight either cruiserweight or even a light heavyweight. The thing that Jake Paul's going to need to work on is he's going to have to work on his stamina. He's going to have to work on his counters, his offense. I think there was times where Jake just tried to swing wildly. It seemed like he didn't really have a game plan at times, or even if he did, he didn't really stick to the full script. He was going off script a lot, and because frustration was probably kicking in for him as well. And so at some point you have to really try to control the pace, and that's what Anthony Joshua did, and that's the reason Anthony won. So yeah, I mean, let's not get crazy, guys. I mean, it is what it is. I think he did a superb job, and now here's a what if. Jake Paul is not going to stop until he gets that world title belt. So he's going to try to fight one of these guys, and he's going to try to get it. Okay, and that's what he wants, right? So if he stays in this weird kind of crossover lane, if you want to call it, of boxing, and continue to fight these retired former champions, aging stars, spectacle fights, anything that catches a little bit of buzz, the Nate Diaz's or whoever. I mean, he could continue doing that, but eventually people are going to get a little tired. They're going to get a little bored. Okay? So in order for them to stay relevant, I think Jake Paul really needs to, look, he's got some skill. He definitely has talent. I think he needs to tweak it a little bit, and I think he needs to stick in a particular division. Either he fights at cruiserweight or he fights at light heavyweight. I think he needs to make that choice, stick with it, hire some really good trainers, and have a good camp around him, and really get serious and start fighting on the circuit and start ranking himself so he can eventually fight for a world title, right? And for Joshua, I mean, this was just pure. This was an opportunity to get a little bit of confidence, a little bit of momentum, and he called out Tyson Fury at the end of his match. That's who he wants to fight. That's the fight that's going to happen next year, 2026. And I mean, the question is, which version of AJ are you going to get? Are you going to get the same version that we saw tonight against Jake Paul? Or are you going to see a more conditioned, refined Anthony Joshua 2.0, right? And him coming in as a demolition human wrecking ball. You know, I mean, this guy hits like a truck. And so we'd like to see a lot of that in, you know, him fighting some elite fighters within his weight class. And I think that's where it's going to get interesting, right? So anyways, these guys did a great job and they got their payday. They got their payday. They live on to fight another day. So, yeah, quick summary. Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul. Anthony Joshua delivered a knockout. There'll be some controversy. There'll be some conversation. Joshua got the KO. Jake lasted longer than expected. This is where the controversy is going to start stemming from. Probably everybody is just a little buzzed tonight. They're probably a little buzzed or baked or whatever. They're not in their right senses. But as of tomorrow or the day after, that's when the articles are going to start coming in on social media. And I'll be covering it, guys. And you know what? You're going to have fighters, you know, chime in and they're going to give their 2 cents. And, you know, it is what it is. But remember, guys, at the end of the day, it's just boxing. It's just boxing. And once again, boxing wins the attention game. So let me ask you this. Did Jake Paul earn your respect? Or do you think Anthony Joshua just took a little too long than you anticipated? Drop your take, comments below, please, guys. I want to hear it. I want to hear what you guys have to say. And if you guys like this real fight, raw, unfiltered fight talk, please smash a like and subscribe. Join us here on Duality 7X for more fight talk. Did AJ do the job? Did he get the job done? I think this is going to spark the momentum. It's going to spark the tone that he needed. So, great fight tonight, guys. I look forward to catching you guys tomorrow because we got a big one. We got Chase Demore taking on Andrew Tate, Misfits World title. I look forward to it. Enjoy your night, guys.